Hello and thank you for joining me. It's Georgia here, and this is the second Bible journaling page for our November virtual faith art retreat, Waiting for Your Light. This is our big Christmas / Advent themed retreat, so being our final retreat of the year and the big Christmas one, I'm doing a lot of bonus stuff. So we're up to Bible journaling page number 2. Normally we only have the one, but this time around we're doing at least 2 that I know of. Who knows how far I take this. So I seem to be doing a bit of a, hey, remember how we did galaxies a few months back? Because my first Bible page, Luke 2, featured a bit of an inked galaxy kind of background. Now the page that I'm doing today is going to be a bit of an acrylic paint galaxy kind of theme. Now, once again, I am recreating something that I've already done in my journaling Bible, but I'll be doing it in the demonstration Bible to show you how I sort of got the finished result. It's going to be interesting because on the back page, or on the back of this page here, I have that big dimensional page that we did last retreat. So I know it's not going to work out real great. It's going to be a bit of a problem for me, but I will do the best I can. The verse I want is actually on this side of the page, but I am doing a double page spread because, you know, it's Christmas and we're going all out. So I am actually in the book of Isaiah. So, you know, I'm happy because... And I will be journaling Isaiah 40, verse 5. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed is my big line. I'm actually going to mask off this whole section. A voice cries out, in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill will be made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. Then the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all people shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Now that is, actually, I'm putting this aside because I have my recycled bits that I've been sticking on the wall. So even though I am featuring that one line, I actually want this entire piece to be kind of highlighted. So, and this might be, I don't know, this might be my focus verse. I have not actually chosen my focus verse this time, just yet, for this retreat. I normally have it chosen quite ahead of time, but you know what? It is more than a week to a retreat. I am very organized this month. Simply because, yes, experience has showed me that being disorganized is a bad thing, because I end up getting quite stressed at retreat time. And also having all of this done in advance means that when I go away on these retreats, I can have a lot of time to myself doing my own thing because all of the videos are already done and I don't have to worry about them. Okay, so I have blocked off this whole section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a big galaxy sky, and I'm going to have some land here. And coming up over the rise of the land, I'm going to have the big gold starburst sort of, or sunburst kind of thing happening. So what I want to do first of all is I want to kind of roughly block out where my landform is going to be. So I'm being quite rough here. And I'm going to have something like this. I want sort of a section coming down like this. Oops, I've already made a hole in the page, I think. Yep, this is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. So this is not going to be the best page you'll ever see me do a tutorial of, because I am fighting the horror of trying to paint on a page with chipboard letters stuck to the other side. So I apologize for this page that's going to look absolutely horrible, but I'll do the best I can. And the point of this really is to give you an idea of how I get the effect that I get. So please excuse any nastiness that comes up. All right, so I'm sort of ignoring that for now because I think I will paint the land later. I want to paint the sky first. So I'm going to just grab my little mixing plate. And the first thing I want to do is I'm getting some yellow. I have this new paint and I don't know if I particularly like it. It's a it's from Deco Art. It's a satin acrylic paint, and I don't know, it's got something weird about it. Maybe it's just because it's new and I haven't shaken it up properly enough. And I've got some gold here as well. Now what I want to do is kind of in the middle and kind of roughly, because I'm going to come back to this. And as you can see, I haven't prepped the page because I'm just using acrylic paints on it, and acrylic paints should not bleed through my pages. But by all means, go ahead and prep your page if it makes you a bit nervous. So I'm just doing a bit of a, I know I put out way too much paint, a bit of a starbursty in the center, coming up from that line where I said the my land was going to cross over. And I'm mixing a bit of gold into it. And I am not too concerned about how it's looking just yet, because I'm going to come back to it. After I've done the sky, I'm going to come back and sort of do some more layers of the yellow and gold. I just want to do it now so that I have an idea of where it is, and I don't do too much of the dark colors in the center here, where I'll then have to try and paint over with a lighter yellow and it won't work out very nicely. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now. I will eventually actually have the yellow or gold going all the way across as a starburst sort of thing, but this is just to say, hey, don't forget that in the center here we want it to be very, very bright. So I'm going to just give that a bit of a dry before I carry on with the other colors, because I don't want them to be blending into each other. I am now going to grab some night sky colors, and I am using the Dina Wakley Lapis, which is that lovely dark blue that you have seen me use quite a lot, and her Blackberry, which is a wonderful purple. And I now have this Delta Creative Ceramic Coat Royal Fuchsia, which is a lovely dark pink. And I might actually also grab, and that's in case I want a bit of a lighter pink there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use sponges to dab bits of paint all over the page. If you came along to the retreat that we had quite a few months ago now, earlier in the year, where we did a bit of galaxy painting, then you'll be familiar with this method. Now I know I'm sort of going over this yellow bit here, but it's okay. It will be sorted. Well, that's my plan anyway. It will be sorted. So you use the sponge to sort of blend your colors together. And yeah, kind of, you know, just randomly. I'm going with more of a darker purple and dark blue, because I want it to be more, I don't know, more night sky than galaxy-ish, if that makes any sense. And it's a while since I've done an acrylic galaxy thing, so I'm really out of practice. Can you tell? Now I am purposefully leaving this area blank because something else is going to happen there. There's stuff going on. Now I'm not drying between layers here because I do want a bit of blending to be happening between the colors. And I know I've got a little bit over that line that I said the landform was going to come, but that's okay, because the colours that I'll use for my landform will go over these night sky colours quite easily, I hope. More of an issue is this three-dimensional lumpy bumpiness that I'm getting from the back of this page here. I should get my son to do this. I gave him a lesson in acrylic galaxies a while ago. Some of the girls and guys in my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator, might remember. I think I posted his galaxy pictures and they were so much better than mine. This is looking a bit like a horrible mess at the moment, I do realise. But things seem to come together after a while. Sometimes they look like a great big mess, and I've picked up the purple with my blue sponge, did you notice? So I've got bits of purple mixing in to the blue, but I don't think that's such a bad thing actually, except for the fact that I've got these white splotches now, and I've picked up some pink. So this is turning into a bit of a disaster page already, but it's okay, it's okay. When you're sponging stuff, you can always kind of not necessarily fix things, but you can amend them quite easily. Now see, I'm not getting bleed through, which is good. The last thing we need is yet another disaster. Maybe I should have let the colours dry in between, but I don't really want that clean separated colours look. I do want them blending a little bit with each other. So I'm doing a lot more blue than anything else. How do I manage to do this? I must have it on my fingers. I've picked up purple again. Oh dear. Yes, but I'm doing blue more than anything else because I think I'm kind of wanting night sky more than galaxy, and I know I said I was leaving this and I've ended up putting blue over it, which is not a problem because it's actually going to be black, but it's just a bit of a waste of my time. Okay, so I'll go back into the purple now and I'll dab some more purple, and I know it's looking quite strange, but as always, what we're going to do is we're going to do some white spattering over it. Got some pink. We're going to go white spattering, and when you have a mess like this and then you do the white spattering to represent the stars, it tends to just bring things together a little bit. So I'm adding just a tiny bit of the light pink. A bit of light pink in there. Just to brighten things up a little bit. Okay, so that's looking quite, the silhouette of the chipboard letters is coming through. So yeah, again, this page will be horrific, but it is what it is. Okay, going to quickly dry that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab some black, do a bit of a shake, and my thinking here is, apart from I need to be a neater crafter, my thinking is I'm going to actually do this with a brush to begin with. I'm going to have a black area here, and I'm actually going to do one of those bring in a verse from somewhere else kind of moments, because I am going to bring in another one of my favorite lines from Isaiah, Isaiah 9:2. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. And that's going to be written over this black area. So, you know, this is the darkness and the great light. And you can see where I'm going, right? Without me explaining, because I try to explain myself and I just sound like an idiot. So, so I stop there and go, yeah, there you go. You get it. You get where I'm going, right? I hope so. So I'm just using the sponge just for the edges there, so it actually kind of blends in a little bit better. And then just giving it a little bit more black here where I've painted blue underneath, just has that really, really solid black right in the corner, and then kind of lightens as it comes out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry that, and then off camera I will go and do some white spattering. I know it looks absolutely disgusting at the moment, and you're thinking, I don't want to do a page that looks like this. It just looks horrific. But trust me, it will get better. I promise. So I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to white spatter all over it. I think perhaps I went over the top with the stars and the white spattering just a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the landform. Now I've grabbed a few different paints. I've got a couple of browns. Now the dark brown is actually a distress paint, ground espresso, because I don't have a dark brown in acrylics, but I know this will work just fine. I have this Delta Creative Territorial Beige, they call it, which is a sort of a kind of weird brown. That's my name for it. And I have a Deco Art Americana in Georgia Clay, which is that reddish brown. I want some orange, and the only orange I have is the Carved Pumpkin Distress paint. I could make up my own with my yellow and red, but I kind of like that orange, so I'm going to stick with it. And I ended up grabbing the perks of having a shop, a Dina Wakley Lemon Yellow paint, because I've decided I really do not like that yellow that I have at the moment. So I think I'm going to be getting rid of that. Now what I want to do first of all is just mark out those two hills so that I've roughly drawn, and I'm just going to do that with the darker brown, just so I keep track of where that separating line is. And I'm actually changing it a little bit. I'm bringing this out a little bit more than my original lead pencil drawing. Okay, now I'm going to just this top one here that is closer to the horizon. I actually want that to be kind of darker. So I want to sort of have dark land, but brighter as it gets closer to us, because of the light is reflecting sort of, I don't know if that's even scientifically correct, but I don't care. That's kind of how I like it. So I'm mixing my paints a lot and blending them into each other, which is fine. It's kind of how I roll. And also, if you have a look at a you know, a hill of dirt, sand, grass, whatever, you are never going to find absolute demarcation lines between your colors. Everything blends into everything else. So that's kind of how I go painting landscapey type of backgrounds in my Bible. I just blend all the colors in together, make it a little bit sort of kind of realistic, if that makes any sense. Not totally happy with that, but I'm still working away. Might get some of that reddish brown in there. Bit of red in there. So it's just a matter of just putting your colours down and playing around with them, moving them around a little bit until you find, you know, the place where you're happy. Now these are sort of sand dunes at night in my view anyway, so That's why I'm using a lot of the yellows and browns. Now I'm going to do a lot of this foreground in yellow, because again this is where the light is reflecting. Being careful not to stick it to the piece of paper I have protecting it underneath. Now if you don't like to cover the words in your Bible, you could do this as a giant tip-in. So paint it on a piece of paper in your sketchbook or any paper, even copy paper will do, and then stick it in as a tip-in. You could also do it in watercolors. That way you could see the writing through the transparency of the watercolors, and you could still read your page. Just a thought. You could actually do this, not even in your Bible. You could do it in one of the many art journals that we've been making, or yeah, in a sketchbook. You could do it as a canvas to put on the wall. Oh, this is where I've got that big hole that I accidentally poked through, and I was painting a little bit too roughly, so I have to be very careful. So I'm not sort of dragging my brush very smoothly across here. I'm sort of just dabbing, and not quite sure what the right word is here. But I'm just doing rough little dabs, and the word will come to me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll come and do an edit and go, that's the word I wanted. Oops, a little bit too much brown on my brush there. I'm just going to clean it off. Just drag that along a little bit. And I'm going to come back and redo that, the outline at the top of the hill. Especially, I don't quite like how that's worked out. It doesn't actually look like, I might just darken the one behind it a little bit, make it more obvious that it's two different. Not that it matters, but I get a bit pedantic. And then just with a clean, almost dry brush, I'm just going to do a bit of blending here, because I don't want it to be an absolute straight line across the top of the hill. Just a little bit more orangey. Scrubbing, that's what I'm doing. I'm scrubbing. I knew it would come to me at some point. Now, unfortunately, this is the place where I really want to do a lot of, kind of scrubbing along and blending and moving my brush around. But I have to be really, really careful, because I've got that three-dimensional stuff going on, and it's really, really making it very difficult to paint the page. So I'm not doing as much as I would like to. I'm just doing a little bit of kind of reflecting from the big sunburst that we're going to have here. Or, well, no, it's not a sunburst, sorry. Light burst, that's the word I want. A bit of reflecting from the light burst. Okay, and I think with that, my mouth says I'm stopping now, and somehow the signal has not gotten through to my hand, which is still going. Just putting a tiny bit of kind of brownie. All right, now I'm going to stop, and now I'm going to let that dry. I let the pages dry for a little while. So now that the paint is completely dry, I'm getting some gold paint. And if you have a stencil that is the right size, you can use a stencil, which is actually probably a better idea. but I don't have a stencil quite big enough to do that light burst that I want across my pages. So I'm just going to, and I can't remember how I did it on the original one, but I'm going to just use a sponge, and I'm just very roughly sort of measuring out where I want that starburst to go, or the light burst rather. It's not a starburst. I might need some more paint. And then once I have it like this, then I'm going to go in with more paint and sort of dab at it, just to kind of blend it out a bit and soften it so it's not just this harsh line of gold. And I'm going to make it go all the way down to the bottom where the sort of sky comes up from the landform that I painted. I might do one here up along the spine as well. Now that's a bit more difficult, so I might get the brush out for this one. And rather than brushing it, I'm just kind of dabbing away. You know what, I actually like that better than the sponge, so I'm going to go in and just dab at those light burst lines that I've done. Okay, now I'll give that a dry. One little thing I forgot to do, and that is, just with a tiny bit more gold, I just want to do a little bit of reflections of the light just like this. So all I'm doing is just doing tiny little, I'm using a flat brush, and I'm just using the edge of the flat brush just to do little dabs. I really don't have my words today, do I? Just to do a little bit of that, you know, reflection of the light onto the hills. Now the last thing I want to do to the actual painting bit is there's just way too much solid gold here. So I am going to grab a brush, and I'm using some yellow and some white, and just using a combination of that, I am just very lightly, and we might get more yellow, I think, going to just, I think I might have used a sponge, might be better. Yeah, that makes me happier. So just with a sponge, I am dabbing bits of yellow, a little bit of white, so it's not too bright yellow. And I'm following that burst pattern. Now you don't need to do that. If you like yours to be that really bright gold, leave it as it is. I just wanted to tone mine down just a little bit. Okay. And there's hardly any paint on the sponge now, so with a very dry, barely any paint on it sponge, I'm just going all the way to the very ends. Right, now that that's done, I'm going to peel off the Sizzix tape. So there I have my verse, nice and clean. And I'm going to get just the slightest bit of gold. So I'm dabbing most of it off the brush, there's hardly any on there. And I'm just going to follow through very, very lightly that particular piece of the gold burst, just through my little box here. There we go. Great, that makes me happy. It is now the next day, so my paint has truly dried. So I'm now going to use my white Posca pen, it's a paint pen, to write my focus verse across the page. Now, this is kind of new to me, this pen, so I'm sort of going, oh well, just hoping that things work out. So we'll kind of see, you know, especially since I've got that horrible three-dimension stuff going on the other page as well. We'll just see. And I'm just completely going freehand. I'm not even drawing it out as I normally do, so this could go really bad. This is the really bad three-dimensional bit. I'm being very careful. Is it going to fit? And I'm just going to say Isaiah 40. I'm not going to I'm not going to write the 5 because I can't fit it. Well, here we go. There we go. It's there, tiny off the edge of the page. You all know what I mean. I'm just going to let that dry, and once it's dry, I'm just going to go over it and give it a second coat and thicken that up just a little bit. Now that I have a couple of layers of the white, I'm just going to use my black gel pen or my black gel marker. This is a Uniball Gel Impact, and I'm just going to give it a bit of a shadow just to make it stand out some more. Okay, so that looks a bit better. And what I'm going to do while I have my marker out is I'm just going to just do my usual run around the page to give it a bit of a rough border and kind of bring everything in together. It's just a thing I like to do. Right, to outline my verse, I want to do it in purple, just because there's a bit of purple going on here, so I thought it would tie in nicely rather than having it black. And I know I'm living dangerously here. I'm using my purple micron, and I know that microns do not like writing over acrylic paint, and I have killed many a micron by writing over paint. So I'm trying to be very careful. So here we go. Having said that, I'm going all over the paint, but it seems to still be okay. Yep, haven't killed it today. All right, so the last thing I want to do now is grab my smaller or thinner white gel pen or gel marker, and I am going to use it to write my other verse here in the corner. So I think I might just go diagonally on this one. Okay, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Isaiah 9:2. So I've sort of borrowed a verse from far back and popped it onto this page. So that's my page. Now, it's not, it's far from perfect. I did have some problems with this, and also the fact that I do it as a tutorial is completely different to if I was doing it on my own. So here is last year. Last year's the year before. Gosh, I can't even remember. No, this is last year's. Here is last year's. I do like that one a lot better than the demonstration, but that's usually the case. So I'll put this one up the top. This is what I was aiming for. So I hope you'll give it a go. As always, you don't need to use the same verse that I did. You can choose your own. And if you are watching this at the time of our retreat, the 26th of November 2020, until the 30th of November, then please come on over, join our retreat, which is run through my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator. And if you're watching this later on, come on over and join the group anyway, or say hi. All my social links are down below. If you're creating one of these, I would love to see yours, so please come and show me. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this process. Again, would love to see yours, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.